What is up, faithful? Welcome to the Niner Sickness Podcast, everyone. Good evening. On this Thursday night, I have a great guest. Many of you know who he is. He just hit a milestone on his channel, 1K. Congratulations to him. We're going to have fun. We're going to talk 49er football. We'll talk a little bit about the Broncos game, and we'll talk about the Monday night game against the Rams right after this.
Roll up to the party, 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 roll up to the party.
Welcome back. Let's get this party started, my boy. There needs no introduction. The one and only, So Real Sunil. Welcome, brother.
Thank you for having me again, Beto. The man with the best setup in all 49ers content creation, my man. You by far have the nicest setup. Love the background. Love all of the intangibles you have. It's awesome to be on your show.
Well, this is the thing, Sunil. When you're not good at content creating as me, you got to make it up with a setup, right? So I can't keep up with you guys. You guys are great. You, Jesse, Nyler, all you guys, Grant, all you guys are awesome. So I have to, if I can be good, at least look good, right?
Hey, man, I think you have the perfect combination of good at the content creation, plus you have the setup as well, man. You're too hard on yourself, but once again, I appreciate you letting me on and inviting me. It's always a great time.
No worries. Everyone that is coming in, please do me a favor and make sure to wipe your feet before entering and smash that like button for your boy, Niner Sickness. We got Yvonne Sanchez in the house. We got Damien in the house. What's up, Damien? We got Victor in the house. What's up, Victor? Welcome to the channel, my friend, from Chuco Town. Welcome, brother. Good to see you, my friend. We got a Facebook user that does not show your name. Unfortunately, thank you for wiping your feet. Please add your name to the end of your comment or head over to YouTube, and YouTube will identify who you are or allow Ecamm to do so for future reference. So, my friend, we're going to talk a little bit about this past Sunday night game. I don't want to reminisce too much on it because it was so painful, at least one side of the ball. But, man, what an ugly, ugly game on both sides, on both teams. On the offensive side, it was really boring to watch. How did you manage to watch the whole game, my friend?
I had this little inkling of hope, Beto, that eventually the 49ers offense was going to be able to figure it out. They had this defense is playing lights out. They're ranked number 2 in the league right now. They're allowing 9.3 points per game. They're playing well, averaging an interception a game. And I just felt like, okay, it's still close. They just need a field goal. They just need, one drive in. So that's what kind of kept me in it, but we never saw it, unfortunately. And so at the end of the game, it was just a huge disappointment, just like you said.
It sure was. I mean, this defense, time after time, set up the offense to score points. I mean, when you keep the opposing offense to only 11 points, 9 out of 10 times, that team wins. But when your own team
it
doesn't...
wasn't even the offense. The offense only put up 9 points.
Yeah.
Jimmy gave them 2, right?
Yeah, Jimmy's like, let me contribute to losing. Here's 2 points because I can't. It was funny when he did his press conference, bro, about how he wasn't in training camp. He didn't have the playbook, but yet I'm not using this as an excuse. Yes, you are, because if you weren't,
Right.
You wouldn't brought it up. And do you really need an off season to learn how not to step out in the of the end zone? I mean, is there anything they implement that you are aware about, Sanu, that says how not to step out? I mean, give me a break.
Yeah. You learned that in Pee Wee ball, right?
Yes, sir. We got Tommy Huxley in the house. Tommy's always saying that players are going to be Hall of Famers. He's saying Kinlaw is a Hall of Famer. I always like to say the opposite of what they say. I'm not going to. He says, this team is comical, man. Injuries and pathetic offense. Sometimes I wonder if Tommy, I mean, I understand that you, as a Niner fan, you have the right to express how you feel. But to some point when you're so negative about your team, I always wonder if you're an undercover Cowboys fan, Seattle fan, imposing as
Maybe
a 49er fan.
I know sometimes there's the anti-fans, and what I mean by that is they always feel like if they speak too positive or believe too much, that they're going to jinx the team. So they always say the opposite of what they want to happen, thinking that that's actually going to help the team like actually win. So if they want the team to really win, they're going to talk that the team should lose, everybody sucks, and then so that they could be pleasantly, I guess, surprised when it's the opposite.
That's funny, bro, because I don't believe in none of that. Is like, honestly, whether I sit on the toilet before the game or after the game, or I go water the plant, it don't matter. The team's going to play the way they play. But I understand how some people, I'm trying to use the word, what's the proper word? What's the word that
Superstitious.
Superstition, yeah. It's like, you know what, if you feel that that's the way you can contribute to the team, good or bad, who am I to knock you off of that white horse? But trust me, that has nothing to do with it, but I hear you. David Avila, welcome to the channel, my friend. Good to see you. We got David Avila in the house. We got David McNew in the house. Thank you for wiping your feet, my friend. He says, Beto and the Niner Empire. Jimmy G is destined for a Hall of Shame. Only quarterback in the NFL history to have a pick six negated by a safety. Very good point. So, moving on. What is one thing that you think the Niners need to do, in your opinion, to go in on Monday night and beat these Rams? Because these Rams don't really scare me, but what do you think the Niners need to do if they want to come out with a W, in your opinion?
So, one thing, having Jimmy as your quarterback, right? He is a starting caliber quarterback. So that does give us a chance to at least be competitive. Obviously, we've seen, the most success under Kyle Shanahan with Jimmy G at quarterback. But the thing that Jimmy does do is it shortens or minimizes your margin for error. So what the 49ers need to really focus on is not beating themselves. And what I mean by that is they have to win the turnover game, and they can't make silly penalties, right? So they have to play a damn near clean game, Beto, to be able to stay competitive. Because one of the bigger losses of the team is Trent Williams. So Trent Williams is going to be gone for 4 to 6 weeks. He's obviously the best player on that offensive line. And right now we have a very young, inexperienced offensive line. Without Trent Williams there, hopefully they'll start Colton McKivitz because I'm forgetting the guy that they played initially that was just trash. He should only be playing guard, but Cole McKivitz has to just hold his own there, and really, like I said, just not beat themselves. Play as close to a clean game as possible. Give the defense the opportunity to really keep the game close, and hopefully they can find some consistency on offense and put some points on the board. But I do feel like it's going to be a low-scoring game. But as long as the 49ers can at least stay even in the turnover battle, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, and you said it, bro. Losing Big Trent, the big silverback, on that left side, to me, that's even tougher than the loss within itself. And then when they brought in Jalen Moore for a few series, I was like, oh my God, this guy is trash.
He's terrible.
Yeah, terrible. I know he's a guard. Trying to be put a tech, and they brought McKivitz, which he did better. So I never thought I would say that. I will hear myself say this, bro, but I can't wait for Daniel Brunskill to come back, because we need him.
He practiced today.
Did he?
Yeah.
That's a good sign. Although I heard that Eric Armstead did not practice, he's still out with that foot injury. Quite a few people I heard Shanahan mentioned that did not practice, so we'll have to wait and see towards the end of the week. Welcome to the show, Rick Perez. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you here on the show. We got Kimberly in the house. What's up, Kimberly? Welcome to the show. We got Chino. What's up, Chino? Welcome to the show. We got Alex G in the house. What's up, Alex G? He says 23-20 Rams with a walk-off field goal. Confident. He's confident. We got Avatar in the house. How you doing, sir? Welcome to the channel. Yeah, the Niners definitely going to have to try to keep AD covered. I think that, I don't know about your thoughts on this, Sunil, but I think they're going to use Kittle way more in the blocking scheme this game than passing. He may get a couple of frees here and there, but I don't know if they can stop AD, and you know they're going to put AD on that left side to try to penetrate on there. So I know that you said that we're missing Trent Williams, but I want to get your thoughts and your opinions on the two guards so far. What you're seeing with the left guard and the right guard, Aaron Banks and Spencer Burford. What are your thoughts so far? What have you taken out? What you're seeing from them, and the center as well?
Out of the three that you just mentioned, Banks and Burford have definitely played better. Burford didn't have that great of a game last game, but I think they've been better than expected, right? They, through the first two games, those two guards had allowed 0 sacks, and they had played obviously the whole game. So I think that building in the right direction. Obviously, they're young players, so consistency is going to be something that clearly is, something that's going to be extremely important. But for the most part, I don't think they're necessarily the reason why the team isn't, winning. The rushing game is still pretty effective. They're averaging about 4.5 yards per carry. So that obviously has a lot to do with the offensive line. But, I do agree with you. I think Kittle being back obviously can help that offensive line when it comes mainly to rushing downs. But just a little bit of a silver lining, Beto. Last year, Week 18 in a must-win game for the 49ers against the Rams, the starting tackles were Colton McKivitz on the left side and what's his name? Tom Compton on the right tackle. So at least we've got an upgrade at right tackle with Mike McGlinchey. Colton McKivitz is going to be there as the left tackle. So we've seen, a makeshift offensive line beat the Rams in a must-win game last season. So we're still hopeful that they could pull it off Monday.
Yeah, definitely an upgrade from Tom Compton, man. Tom Compton was terrible. It was a need because Mike McGlinchey was out with the injury. I know a lot of people are not big fans of Mike McGlinchey, especially in the pass protection, but as a run blocker, this guy is excellent. That's, when we drafted him for his blocking ability from Notre Dame, hoping that he will show upside and learn that on the pass blocking. But I don't know about you. A lot of people don't like Mike McGlinchey, but if you tell me which right tackle right now available could bring better service than Mike McGlinchey, I can pretty much guarantee you probably can't find one that is available better than Mike McGlinchey.
Yeah, as far as especially, with the type of run scheme that the 49ers have, there's not too many right tackles that are going to be better than Mike McGlinchey. Clearly, he could be better in pass pro, but overall, offensive linemen are a premium, right? There's not a lot of them walking around that are great, that are available, right? That's why you see offensive linemen get broken off as far as paid, because if you find a good one, one, they're going to be either really, really expensive or they're not going to be available because the team that drafted them aren't allowing them to go anywhere. So
Exactly. Damien says, after Denver, I'm sick of the drama with Jimmy. We need a capable quarterback. We have a Super Bowl defense, and we are wasting it. Yeah, I mean, it's sadly to say there, Sunil, but this, like I said earlier, before we went live, I think this defense is special. I think this defense is capable to be very, very good this year. One of the areas that we lacked in last year was the secondary, and without Ward, without Verrett, we have, in the merging of Hufanga, we have a pretty good secondary right now. We know we have the pass rush. We know we have the trio linebackers. So this defense can be special, but like Damien said, unfortunately, it can be wasted by how bad this offense is playing. So hopefully, Kyle Shanahan can dig deep into his bag. He kind of knows how to play against the Rams, Sean McVay. Yeah, he knows how to play against them. So, hopefully, I remember last year, Sunil, that we had just came from a beatdown at home by the Arizona Cardinals with their backup quarterback. And we were scheduled to play the Rams the following week at home on a Monday night. And a lot of us were like, oh, man, can we beat the Rams? Are we capable of beating the Rams? And we went up beating the crap out of them. Now, hopefully history repeats itself where we had a bad game against Denver. The Rams are pumped up to play us right now. I think Jimmy can't possibly, and my fingers are crossed, have 2 consecutive bad games. I think he'll step up and play serviceable in this team. And if he does, with this secondary and our pass rush, people gotta remember too that offensive line of the Rams might be a little bit worse than ours. And I believe we have better pass rushers than they do. So, we're gonna be contending with AD. They're gonna be contending with Bosa from our side. So, whatever offensive line protects better. And if I'm not mistaken, doesn't Matthew Stafford already have 5 interceptions in 3 games?
He sure does. He has 2 multiple interception games. He had a clean sheet last week against the Cardinals, but the first 2 games he threw three interceptions against Buffalo, 2 interceptions. Forgot who they played in week 2, but I think you mentioned it right, man. You said the word serviceable, right? So nobody expects Jimmy G to be a top 10 quarterback, but if we're being honest, that's the worst game we've ever seen Jimmy G play. He's never really been that bad ever. So, I don't expect him to be that bad again. And we just want him to play average, because if he's average, he can, make the short throws, give the receivers the opportunity to get yards after the catch, and not make too many bonehead turnovers. This team is going to be competitive. This team is good enough to win because of all the talent that's surrounding Jimmy. The problem is when he starts giving points away, making stupid interceptions and just missing throws, right? He missed probably 2 potential touchdowns to Debo, right? He's making Debo stop to catch the ball rather than leading him into the end zone and, just making the wrong reads. But that's the worst game I've ever seen Jimmy play. So I don't expect him to play that bad again. It was a terrible game, man. Also, last year, the 49ers looked terrible until the second half of the season, right? They were 3-5. A lot of the same things we're talking about right now, Beto, are the same things we were talking about last year, right?
Yep.
Jimmy should be benched. They should probably start Trey, all that kind of stuff. And they still were able to make it to the NFC Championship game. And, we're a few minutes away, a drive here away from, making it to the Super Bowl again. So I definitely think Shanahan can turn it around. I think Jimmy can play better. But we all know this team is going to go as far as this defense and this rushing attack. And, hopefully the combination of Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle can start making some noise all at the same time.
Yeah, I hear you, and I hope that happens too, bro. I heard a lot of Niner fans, Zanil, already calling out for the Mr. Irrelevant quarterback Purley. And I kind of reminded them on one of my shows and then on Twitter that if last year, as bad as the team was, if Kyle Shanahan did not go away from Jimmy for Trey Lance, a third overall pick in the first round, what makes people think that he's going to go to Purdy over Jimmy this year? It's not happening. Jimmy has to play like 3 or 4 more consecutive games that way he played against the Broncos for even Shanahan to sniff it. I wanted to ask you this question. A lot of people are saying that Kyle Shanahan is to blame. I saw Kyle Shanahan scheme players open. He schemed a few players open. Debo was open, and Jimmy didn't see him and throw him the ball. And then when Ayuk was open, he throws the ball to his feet. So I want you to tell me, and the fans that blame Kyle, is Kyle really at fault here completely? Or what can he do if the quarterback is not doing what he's supposed to do?
So that's a really great question, Bento. So the answer that I give, and I hate when people give this answer, but I'm going to give it anyway. It's yes and no. All right. So why, and I'll answer why I said yes and no. So Kyle Shanahan is still an excellent play caller. He's still an excellent offensive mind. You said it. There are so many plays that he schemed open, wide open receivers. Like when you could get Debo Samuels, the best player on your offense, the player that every defense is focusing on, wide open on multiple occasions. That's you can only do that if you're an offensive genius. Like you said, Ayuk. If I have friends that watch the All 22, and they're saying Ayuk is open all the time, like all the time. But Jimmy just doesn't get him the ball either, and when he does throw him the ball, it's not on target. The execution is where the problem is. But why Kyle Shanahan is to blame is because at the end of the day, he never solved his quarterback problem, right? Yep. He's had all the time in the world now. He's in year 6 of his tenure here with the 49ers, and he still doesn't have his quarterback, the quarterback. He had the opportunity to get Tom Brady. He passed on Tom Brady. He had the opportunity to get Matt Stafford. He wasn't able to get Matt Stafford. He's had ample opportunity in the draft multiple years to get, the solution. He could have gotten Kirk Cousins when Kirk Cousins was a free agent. They decided to re-up Jimmy. So he's made some costly moves at quarterback, or lack of making moves at quarterback, that has led the 49ers to be in this situation where they always seem a quarterback away from really being a super elite team. And unfortunately, he probably thought he had his guy in Trey Lance, but unfortunately Trey Lance got injured, and so that play gets moved back another year. But Beto, you're the same kind of era as me, and one thing that I always talk about when I talk about Kyle Shanahan is a lot of the things that you hear about Kyle Shanahan were mentioned about a coach by the name of Andy Reid. Remember Andy Reid back when he was with the Eagles? They always made it to the NFC Championship game with Donovan McNabb. He was always told, he couldn't win the big game, right?
Yep.
And then he goes to Kansas City, and he went to Kansas City in 2013. He didn't have a top 10 offense till 2018, and that was when Patrick Mahomes became the starting quarterback of his team. So similar type numbers. He was in the high 20s, low teens every single year with Kansas City. But until he got his quarterback, that was when, the Kansas City Chiefs are what they are, always a top 5 offense, and he was obviously able to get over the hump and win a Super Bowl. So I really think Kyle Shanahan is still the coach that I want leading my team. But it is frustrating that he still hasn't figured out this QB situation. But I think if he has the right quarterback, Beto, the sky's the limit with what Kyle Shanahan and his offense can do.
And you're right. I mean, Kyle had the opportunity. He came in and took over this franchise as a head coach, first time head coach. The opportunity, and I know a lot of people want to say the Niners could have drafted Patrick Mahomes, but let's keep it honest. I don't know how many really saw Patrick Mahomes be Patrick Mahomes.
Only Andy Reid.
Only Andy Reid and his scouting team, exactly.
Yeah.
But Deshaun Watson was someone that had won 2 championships with my Tigers in college, back to back. So the opportunity to get him was there. Now I understand, first time head coach, first time GM, you're going to go with a safe pick. And I know that why they drafted Solomon Thomas, not because Solomon Thomas turned out to be who he is, but they already had Armstead there. They didn't need someone just to be what Armstead was already. So, but I understand John Lynch went to Stanford, was familiar with Solomon Thomas somewhat in first year. And I know they were pursuing Cousins, and Shanahan was familiar with Cousins. So I can understand that. And then people tell me, well, Sean McVay took over the Rams and started winning right off the bat, and the Niners not so much with Kyle. But I always have to explain that Sean McVay took over a way better team. I mean, when Kyle Shanahan took over, I believe we only had two players from the old regime that came over when they dismantled the whole thing, which was Joe. It was they drafted Jimmy Ward, Joe Staley, and then Garrett, the tight end who retired, was so it was 3 of them, and so they completed. They brought Hoyer, they brought everybody. They had to overpay for juice because nobody wanted to come to this team. They had to build it from the floor up, and let's be honest, in 6 years, the way he took over the team, the way he had to redo the whole team. He made it to the championship, twice, and 1 Super Bowl appearance. And I know that a lot of people expect more from this team, and like Super Bowl or bust. At least I come from the Joe Montana, Steve Young era. I started watching the 49ers before Bill Walsh and before Joe Montana were here. And they were terrible back then. So I'm with you. Kyle Shanahan is some to blame, but he's not completely to blame in this. But he hasn't figured out the quarterback. Now, I'm thinking and I'm hoping that Trey Lance is the quarterback. There would be the Patrick Mahomes to Andy Reid. Unfortunately, I was cut short due to injury. In injuries, you can't plan out injuries. You can't. Look at what happened to Tua just about a half hour ago. So injuries do happen. If this quarterback, Trey Lance, does work out and is the type of quarterback, for those that don't follow the Niners very well or don't watch the All 22, in your words, Sunil, what is the difference that Trey offers in Kyle Shanahan's offense compared to Jimmy?
Well, it forces the defense to play 11 on 11 versus 10 on 11, especially in the running game. Even the game that Trey went down, the 49ers already had 100 yards rushing in just 2 drives, right? So it really, really impacts the rushing attack with Trey Lance there, because you actually have to defend Trey as well, because he's a weapon when it comes to his legs as well. Another thing that it does is it opens up the passing game, because now you have a quarterback that's willing to throw it deeper than the 10 to 15 yards that Jimmy is most comfortable throwing the ball. So those are some of the positives that it does. Trey Lance is extremely elite when it comes to play action. And we've seen him, be able to be fairly accurate with his deep ball. He did have some issues, with accuracy here and there, he came from, he didn't play a lot of college ball. And even the college ball that he played, he didn't throw the ball that often. He averaged about 16 pass plays per game, which isn't a lot, especially when you only played 1 year of college ball, especially in, the division that he played. But he needs reps. And the thing that is scary is it's another season where he's not going to get those reps. So it is something, there's a Ramilia Sports Report puts up, a question. Is Trey getting hurt 4 times in 1 year, 2 1 year and 2 games a red flag? And are you worried about that? He's a young dude, but he's been very injury prone. Stafford is an older QB but plays. It's a valid question and a valid concern at this point in time. Like, is Trey one of those quarterbacks that's just a little bit snake bitten, and just constantly is an injury prone quarterback? Like, he probably has to change a little bit of the way he plays. Clearly, we don't want to see him as a bruising type runner. We want to see him more, run when he has to versus, just always running. But I still think that he's going to be the guy moving forward. He's a great leader. I think that Kyle Shanahan likes what he gets out of Trey. Hopefully he can stay healthy enough for us to be able to see some continuity with him. But yeah, who knows what the future holds. I still think that Trey will be the starter come next year, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, you're right. And welcome, Rudy. Welcome, Remelia Sports Report. Welcome to the channel. Edward, welcome. And those that have been popping in, Rick Diaz, welcome to the channel. You're right. And the thing about me is, a lot of times when you draft a rookie, you want to take advantage of that rookie contract to see how far you can go and win one on the salary of a rookie contract. Now Trey's going on year 3, and it's going to really be his first year if he stays healthy. And so they're really going to get maybe just 2 years to evaluate him, to realize whether he's worth keeping or not. And so that's the frustrating part, Sunil. That is because to me this year, I know a lot of people were like, we're going to the Super Bowl with Trey. We're going to this. I'm like, I was not saying we weren't, and I'm not going to not say and put those guys down because they were saying that. But I was more like, I just want to see growth. I want to see growth in Trey. I want to see him 1 week to another grow, learn, take his bumps and lessons and learn and adjust and look at film of himself, of what he did right and what he did wrong. So by the end of the year, he will start clicking, and whether we made it far or not, at least know going into 23, he'll be more advanced. Now, all that is put in a pause, and that has a lot of 49er fans very, very frustrated because of that. But it is what it is. So now we're rolling with Jimmy. We already know our ceiling with Jimmy. And Jimmy's good enough to be serviceable, to win games. We know that he hasn't won the big game, but he's definitely, and I'm not saying he's taking us to the NFC championship game and won it, because we know that the defense carried him and the running game. We need a quarterback that can carry the team. A quarterback that can put the team on his back and not always and help out a defense that is struggling here and there. You know that if the defense struggles, we're doomed, because Jimmy cannot do that.
Beto, there's a couple of rumors that people are throwing out there, and I want to run them by you. See what you think about that. So there's one that is, try to trade for the Philadelphia Eagles backup quarterback Gardner Minshew. Would that be something that you'd be open to?
If we were going to trade him and go with him instead of Jimmy, most likely to back up Jimmy, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of him either. He's okay. I don't know how fast he'll learn this complex offense. Can he run it? Because everything's a good idea until you put everything into motion and you realize, there's an...
You're right. I think if it was maybe in the offseason, that would have been, something to think about. But at this point, it's too late. But this is the one that I really wanted you to get your thought process on. A Trey Lance for Kirk Cousins trade straight up.
A Trey Lance for Kirk Cousins? Oh, hell no. Hell no.
Do that?
No, I would trade Kittle and Trey for Lamar Jackson. But
interesting.
But I wouldn't.
Do you think that the Rams would do that? I mean, the Ravens would do that.
Well, the thing is, they haven't signed him, and
Right.
I don't know what the relationship really is there. And once a relationship goes bad, it's really hard to redeem itself. So if the right team comes in with the right trade value and the right compensation in players, a team may think about it. And, but I would love to see someone like Lamar Jackson come in under Kyle Shanahan's offense and see what we can do. But Kirk Cousins straight for Trey Lance, because we know the Kirk Cousins limitations as well. We know that on the biggest stage, he fizzles out. There's no bigger stage than an NFC Championship game, and there's no bigger stage than a Super Bowl. So how much can Kirk Cousins take over the hump? But if you bring someone in like Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson, he can win you games. He can take you over the top.
I really like that, man. I haven't heard anybody talk about that. That is a really, really interesting idea, Beto. You come up with that yourself, or have you heard that from someone?
Well, that's me. I don't know if other people are saying it.
Nah, man, I don't think anybody's talking about that. That is extremely interesting because, if they're not willing, I mean, obviously the 49ers would have to break the bank and sign him to a big contract, which means you are probably going to lose some talent, and you're going to have to make up that room somehow. But, it's worth it. I know, look, it's no secret that they were in the Deshaun Watson stage, right? They wanted Deshaun Watson. Obviously, his off-the-field issues made him too toxic for the 49ers to go after him. And then they put together the package to go up and get Trey. So I think that Kyle Shanahan would be excited. He's mentioned Lamar Jackson, right? He wants a quarterback that has the athletic ability of Lamar Jackson. And, if he could develop that, the touch with the pass and stuff like that, that would be very, very interesting, Beto. I would do that too, to be honest. If you could get Lamar Jackson and, trade a Kittle and a Trey Lance, if that's all it took, I would make that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, even throw in like someone like Eric Armstead in there, like Damian said. Listen, you said about breaking the bank on Lamar, but you know what you're getting in Lamar. You know that in 2 years, that bank's going to be broken in Trey as well. If they decide to keep Trey, they're going to have to pay Trey the quarterback value.
And here's the thing, Beto, that 49ers have better than a lot of other teams. They could draft. And they could draft with late-round picks, right? You're seeing guys with late-round picks play pivotal roles for the team right now, right? You have, obviously Talanoa Hufanga, fifth-round draft pick that's looking like an all-pro level. A guy like Dre Greenlaw, fifth-round draft pick, they just re-signed him. They have Samuel Womack, who's made some moves. Diamador Lenore, who played well last game and was playing in that nickel position last game as well. And a lot of the guys across the defensive line are all late-round picks that they've been able to develop. So, and Burford, fifth-round draft pick as well, right? So they're able to do a lot with lower-round draft picks, which is a very good skill to have. Where even if you pay a quarterback the amount of money you're going to have to pay Lamar, you can still have really good talent because you're able to draft and develop players very well.
Exactly. And Roger, how you doing? Welcome to the channel, my friend. He said it himself. He reminded me that the Ravens do have Mark Andrews, their tight end, so they probably don't need Kittle. And that's a valid point, but maybe we don't trade Kittle. Maybe it's Trey and maybe someone like Brandon Ayuk. Because let's be honest, can the Niners really afford Brandon Ayuk with a new contract and Debo? Probably not. And they're hoping that Danny Gray can step up and take some of those. Because they're always drafting ahead. Like you said, they draft players to replace those that are going to demand bigger contracts. And players. So maybe they package Trey Lance with Brandon Ayuk and a defender for Lamar. I mean, all those possibilities could happen, but I wouldn't be opposed of bringing Lamar. I love Lamar. He's on my fantasy team. I love watching him play. Is he a risk of getting hurt? Yes, they all are. But what this kid does, and this kid is underrated when it comes to his passing and his accuracy. He's pretty good, man. So can you imagine the possibilities of what Kyle Shanahan can do with a Lamar Jackson under center, bro? How in this defense that we have with the run game that we have, how explosive we can be. I mean, the Rams, Cardinals, and Seahawks wouldn't have a prayer at all if that would happen. So that's something that I always thought about. Now, will it happen? Probably not. Is it going to be Trey? And I'm not down on Trey. We don't know. At least I don't know yet. Still, what we have in Trey. People calling Trey a bust. I think that's absurd. Some people call him a Hall of Famer. I think that's absurd too. You can't call him a Hall of Famer. You can't call him a bust. The kid hasn't really played.
We haven't seen him play. We've only seen him play, 3 full games?
Yeah, so it's like, how can you make an assessment on a player? Go ahead.
But the thing about it, Beto, is like, how long can you wait? Because we know that windows close very, very quickly in the NFL. And, one thing that extends a window is a really great quarterback, right? You have a guy like Tom Brady, your window lasts 20 years. You have a guy like Aaron Rodgers, your window lasts, 10 years. You have, great quarterbacks obviously extend that window. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to have a really long window. The Buffalo Bills are going to have a really long window. But the problem is Trey needs at least a full year to develop. And that's to show whether or not he is going to be one of these top 7, top 10 type quarterbacks. And does the 49ers have that much time to wait? Or if they have an opportunity to get a guy like Lamar Jackson, do you go all in and make that move? For me, if a guy like Lamar Jackson is available, I'm going after him, even though I'm very high on Trey Lance. But like you said, you got to take the commodity that you already know is great versus somebody who you think could be great, right?
Exactly. Damien Lee, real quick, we're going to be wrapping this up momentarily. Damien Lee says, what about the backup quarterback from Green Bay, referring to Jordan Love? Thank you, David McNew. I wouldn't want Jordan Love to come over at all. Is he really? I don't even think he's an upgrade to Jimmy. If he was, they wouldn't have kept Rodgers for all that money. They would have let Rodgers go by now and kept Devontae. The fact that they were stuck with Aaron Rodgers is because Love hasn't done what he needed to do or give them the confidence that they needed to move on from Rodgers. So no, I wouldn't want to bring him. So let me ask you something before we close out the show, bro. I wanted to ask you, give me a prediction of this game against the Rams, and then give me a key point that needs to take place to seal the deal for us to win the game.
So I'll answer the second question first. So the 49ers will win this game if they could score at least 2 touchdowns in the first half. If they can score at least 2 touchdowns in the first half, the 49ers will win this game. However, I do not believe the 49ers are going to be able to score 2 touchdowns in the first half. So I do see them losing this game. I think it'll still be a low-scoring game, probably something around like 14-10. Something like that. And I think the Rams pull this out because I just feel like there's a lot that the 49ers have to figure out. And I don't know if 1 week is enough time to figure that out, especially with, Trent Williams going down, Jimmy, coming off of a terrible game. It's a lot of things to overcome against the team that's the defending Super Bowl champ, division rival. It's just that already, has kind of their stuff figured out coming off of a 2-game winning streak, So I look at it as a loss for the 49ers. But that doesn't mean that I'm still down on this year. I still think the 49ers will figure it out and make the playoffs.
Okay. Now, let me ask you real quick. If that secondary can come up with 2 turnovers by Matthew Stafford, what are the chances of the Niners winning the game from that standpoint?
Good. I think that it gives them a good chance. I mean, clearly, when you get interceptions, that changes the field position and makes it easier for the offense to put up points. So if that leads to touchdowns, that's great, but it has to lead to points. I don't think the Rams are going to be able to score very easily on the 49ers. I don't think any team is going to score very easily on the 49ers. They're just very good at every level of the defense. And what's scary, what other teams should be scared about, Beto, when it comes to the 49ers defense, they have two players that are really, really good that are coming back in Jimmy Ward and Jason Verrett to make this defense even better. So, yeah, this defense is going to be really good throughout the whole season. It's just at what point is the offense going to be serviceable enough to put up enough points where this defense could play with the lead? Because once this defense plays with the lead, like we saw against Seattle, they're elite, man. You're not scoring points on this defense if they're playing with the lead. So if the 49ers could give this defense a lead going into the second half, I think that they could get this victory. I hope I'm wrong, but as of now, I have this Rams winning in a close one.
And it makes sense, Senio. I know a lot of Niner fans watching this probably be like, what are you doing? But it makes sense. Our defense held the Broncos to 9 points. Okay? 9 freaking points. And yet we still lose the game because our offense couldn't muster more than 10 points. And yes, it was 11 to 10, but it was the 2 points, like you told me earlier, that it was Jimmy giving up those 2 points in the safety. Without that safety, it's only 9 points. Prior to that, the defense gave 0 points against Seattle because those 7s came from special teams. And the only points that they gave up a lot was, I believe, 19 points against the Bears. So this,
but it was only 3 points in the first half.
3 points in the first half. A lot, and I think a lot had to do with the weather. I'm not blaming the weather, but it is a factor. It did happen, and that can mess with a defense. So, with all that said, this defense is stacked. They can stop opposing offenses, like you said. So, from that standpoint, we can win a lot of games. But if we can't turn interceptions or turnovers into points, or if we cannot take advantage of the red zone, it doesn't matter how good your defense is. It doesn't matter if you stop the other opposing offense. If you can't score yourself, we are in trouble. So I think we'll get a clear indication in this game on Monday night how this offense is going to be going forward, because I think Kyle Shanahan has to really look deeply into his bag and figure this offense out. Before I let you go, before I close it out, let me ask you this question. Do you think missing Mike McDaniels in this offense has been felt so far in this offense, or no, this is just a Jimmy thing?
Yeah, this has nothing to do with Mike McDaniel. Even if McDaniel's here, this team is still 1-2.
I agree. By the way,
I don't think anything that Mike McDaniel brought to the offense is like Kyle Shanahan isn't lacking in play calling. I think that's just an easy cop out for people that aren't paying attention. The execution is bad, and I don't think anybody expected Trey to be out, and it is what it is. I think obviously Mike McDaniel having the success that he's having with Miami puts a lot of these questions out in the open, but I'm happy for Mike McDaniel. I think he's going to be a great head coach, but we'd still be 1-2 even if he was still on this team.
I agree with you. Sunil, before we go, once again, I want to congratulate you on hitting the milestone of 1K. We have a lot of viewers watching. Please let everyone know exactly how they can reach you, how they can follow you, and what you have to offer them for them to follow you, my friend.
Well, I appreciate the invitation, and thank you so much, for that. Obviously, I messaged you to say a personal thank you because you obviously gave me my intro video, which is super sick, right? And really changed up my video, so I appreciate that. You can find me. My social media handles are So Real Sunil. Sunil is spelled right there, like you spelled it. You can find me there, Twitter and Instagram. And then my YouTube channel is So Real Sports Talk TV. So www.youtube.com/So Real Sports Talk TV. And yeah, constantly streaming on there. Have a regular show with, my guy Rohan Chakravarti, who's, a great analyst, writes for 49ers Web Zone. And I have random guests on all the time. Got to get you on there, Beto, one time. Definitely on my channel. That would be great. And
I appreciate that.
If you guys enjoy the content, please feel free to subscribe. Show some love. It's much appreciated.
Yeah, guys, go and check him out. Great guy. He's blowing it up. He has great guests. Again, Sunil, I thank you for coming to my show the second time around. It's always a pleasure having you. Love chopping it up with you, man. I know all my viewers loved having you on here. A lot of them. I'll be honest with you. I choose my guest by request of my viewers. And you were requested quite a bit. So I don't just pick someone out of the random just because I want to talk to them. Not that I don't want to talk to you, but I love to give my viewers what they want if I can. And you were one of the persons they wanted me to bring back as a guest. So I was able to do that to my viewers. And you are an amazing man, brother. Keep doing what you do. Make sure to follow my boy. Follow him. So Real Sunil. All right, brother. Well, thank you for being with us. Everyone watching, thank you for watching. Enjoy the remainder of the Miami and Cincinnati game. Continue to pray and lift up Tua for a speedy recovery. Let's keep him in our prayers. Continue to pray for everybody that has been affected with this hurricane in Florida, for the families that lost a lot of things. We are here talking about sports when there's life crisis happening in this world. Let's keep those families in prayer. Show them some love. Don't go anywhere, Sanu. Everyone, God bless you. Have a wonderful night, and we're out of here.